see his logo, it looks like this. The logo for the, what's the hotel? Caesars used it, also Ritz-Carlton, there you go. There you go. When I busted up on the Boulay Regional meet, they was up in the Ritz-Carlton. That's when they had David Rockefeller, who was their guest speaker. Then we got Professor Griffin. But also, especially about Professor Griff, Brother Griff, Minister of Information, when he was being attacked by David Mills, one of the more critical moments was when they challenged him over where did he get his information from. And he said, well, I got it from two sources. I got it from Henry Ford, who wrote The International Jew, and I got it from Steve Coakley. And where Chuck D made his biggest sin was that he stood up and repudiated me as someone who had no information. Henry Ford is, of course, dead, so I was the only living of the two sources that he named. It came down to, I remember when you all was in Switzerland, you was trying to throw down on the Anglo-American Corporation and stuff. They were trying to stop you all from being in Switzerland or somewhere and trying to, yeah. Anyway. This Griffin that you see here can be defined by picking up Webster's dictionary. I've done this before for those of you who have seen it, but those who haven't understand this is in my base theory, the great base theory of evil. And this Griffin, defined by Webster, is described as the first definition. And the second definition becomes an action definition, origin unknown, a white person new to the east. Remember they were talking about doing the ritual facing east. Griffin is the state of being a white person recently come to the east. And Griffin Heights, Griffin Park, Los Angeles, those of you who are here from LA, and you can understand the role it plays. Another definition of Griffin, this one coming in the dictionary of symbols. Let me go backwards 1 second. I need to suggest that you go away and get a dictionary of symbols to support your insight into certain things. Well, there are three that I can show you that I'm using presently, among others, and I'll show you their covers. Here is Sirlot, and his dictionary of symbols, J-E-C-I-R-L-O-T, dictionary of symbols. These have some freaky looking things there. Some bird, and some people in it, and some, I don't know what that is. And I don't know. Maybe why white ain't reproducing too well. Anyway, you see those churches in Europe lay across a point similar to this. 5 points. Oh, like Atlanta. Anyway, dictionary of symbols by Sirlot. You could also use this one. This one is by J.C. Cooper, Dictionary of Symbolic and Mythological Animals by J.C. Cooper. I'll be pulling from these in the next 15 minutes. And the one I was just going to show you now, Dictionary of Symbolism, Cultural Icons and Their Meanings Behind Them by Hans Biedermann. Biedermann is describing, he has a definition of a griffin, and you can see a picture of a griffin, the body of a lion, the wings of a bird, and he's talking about how the griffin guarded the goal of the Hyborians of the far north. Talking about Dante, who wrote Inferno, describes griffins in certain layers into hell. In Sirlot's book, he defines gargoyles, gargoyles, whatever, as images of the demonic, dragon-infested underworld. In the later case, they were captive animals, prisoners under the sway of a superior spirituality. This is shown by their position in the hierarchy of the ornamentation. They are always subordinate grow up and be just that. If you were locked into growing up and being just that, as the greatest, biggest, strongest of all black men, has grown up to suggest that the best our race could be is a guardian animal for a monkey. Do you believe that's your ultimate destiny? Do you believe that's your ultimate destiny? All right, let's look up here. Here's another body of a lion, wings of a bird, breast of a woman, face of a woman. This is a sphinx. It gets to talking about the Greek sphinx, and the Greek sphinx is Giza, and the number 187. Then goes on to describe this female sphinx of Greek tradition has its origins in a fairy tale motif. This sphinx, often winged, always female, a demon lurking at the side of the road, challenging travelers to solve her riddle and devouring all those who could not. Anton LaVey wrote the Satanic Bible. He gave a description about the Greek word demon meant a guardian spirit. The Greek word demon meant guardian spirit. Now, we began to find all sorts of pictures describing this Grecian sphinx. This is Sherlock. Look, he had a picture. The body of a lion, the wings of a bird, the breast of a woman, the face of a woman. A demon lurking at the side of the road. Sherlock, and this is hard to see, but Sherlock said that the Grecian sphinx that he watched, being the supreme embodiment of the enigma, the sphinx keeps watch over an ultimate meaning which must remain forever beyond the understanding of man. So the Grecian sphinx is supposed to be the keeper of esoteric knowledge. In the Constitution and bylaws of the Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, the first of all the Greek letter fraternities, starting in 1904, they described in their Constitution that their name was Sigma Pi Phi, their symbol was a Grecian sphinx, their seal was the Grecian sphinx and urn, and their colors were blue and white. And they describe all that under insignia. Manly Palmer Hall in the Secret Teachings of All Ages, under the chapter entitled The Initiation of the Pyramid, goes back and manipulates knowledge as we know it by saying that the Egyptian sphinx is closely related to the Greek legend of Oedipus. That is the other way around. But when you're stolen legacy, you manipulate the knowledge like a magician or an alchemist. This is a switch of hand trick. There you see it sitting on a mantle, and the mantle was described by Joshua Kwesi as meaning Lord of the landlords. So we're talking about the Grecian sphinx being a servant of something higher than itself, the Lord of the landlord. And then he goes on to say that this came out of the mysteries of the Kabbalah. That brings that word back about skull and bones being something more Kabbalistic. One spelled with a C, the other spelled with a K. Then we find that the Grecian sphinx is closely related to the number 9, the sum of 9. 9 squares, 9 societies, and what walks on 4 legs, then on 2 legs, then on 3 legs. That was the riddle that Oedipus was to answer. Now, if you are a Grecian sphinx and hold a riddle, what happens when one walks up and solves your riddle, as we shall tonight? It is compelled, discovering one who knew the answer fell from the cliff, which bordered the road and perished. So why wouldn't the Boule or the people who were involved in these societies not want you to know? Because once they are revealed for the guardian animals that they are, their role in life has now become moot. So you can eliminate them not by beating them to death, but by wiping away what they protect. In other words, you watch a football game, Emmitt Smith is rounding the corner with 3 blockers, and one defender comes up and throws his body into the 3 blockers and strips him of his protection. He still has the ball. He's still the scorer, but he's got no guardian animals out there blocking for him now. You understand?
A little louder back there.
What you say, brother? You want to know about who the devil is?
Can't hear you, man.
Oh, no, that's all right. We ain't going to get into that. Okay, just hold on, brother. I'm going to bring the devil right to you like you never saw it before. We got the devil better. We got the devil better conceived than anywhere you could ever go in the history of our race. It's right here on this table. This has never been done in the history of our race as one groups of teams gone forth to translate the riddle of the blacks who help the whites. In the process of killing the whites, we're stripping it of its protection. All right. The Lord, what's that mean? All right. Got the body of the lion, the wings of the bird, the breast of the woman, and that's supposed to be a woman's face. Now, Cooper talks about a guardian animal. What is a guardian animal? Mythical monsters and a wide variety of fearsome animals have been employed universally in the guarding of treasures or sacred. You all see all right? I guess you can't really. A lot of you can. Got tilted a little bit.
Well,
they perform a dual role, not merely acting as guardians, but also symbolizing the dangerous aspect of the thing they guard. So if a head of Morris Brown or the head of Morehouse or the head of Johnson Publishing or the head of Black Enterprise or the head of whatever, Joint Center for Political Studies, is in this guardian animal position, what they protect represents great danger. That's why no one knows who these people are, because remember, what is it that holds a society together? Obedience. Oh, y'all coming on.
well.
Guardian animals of the threshold must be overcome before the sacred realm can be entered. So you might not want to reach the guardian animal, but if you're going to get to the promised land, you're going to have to whip it, just like slaying a dragon. You understand that? They perform the function of preventing the would-be ignorant from going too far, too fast, and encountering more than is possible to bear or understand. The threshold being the meeting place of the two realms. The outer and the inner, the profane and the sacred. Treasures and the entrances of temples, churches, and other sacred places are guarded by dragons, lions, winged bulls, serpents, scorpion men, gargoyles, and a great variety of fearsome creatures, all indicating the danger of leaving one known state to confront the unknown and the esoteric. Always breaking it down like it's never been broken down before in the history of our race. The dragon, the serpent, or Naga is the most usual guardian, and thus is generally depicted as guarding the most dangerous of all things, the tree of knowledge, or the tree of life, the most dangerous of all things. Now, how do you set up a system everyone compulsorily and still keep the knowledge away from all those who educated for at least 22 years of their life. You got to be a master magician to hide truth after all those years of sitting in the classroom. Fabulous monsters have their own specialized functions. The griffin, being the bird of gold, naturally guards gold. Look at the Rothschild logo. The griffin guards the gold mine. The Sphinx guards esoteric knowledge. The eagle watches over the two gates of the world, east and west. And brother, that made me think about, when you really thought about it, the double-headed eagle. The eagle would guard the entrance way to the two gates. That's right, they're limited at best, brother. What happens when Brother Corey looks up military intelligence? What's the logo for the Army intelligence? A guardian animal. What does the military do? Guard. False knowledge or inverted knowledge with the rays of light going down. Very good, brother. Spellman's logo runs the same. All right. Remember again now, this is Spellman Rockefeller, so you didn't need to know the logo, you know the name. And I walked over there and all kids say Rockefeller, Cosby. And Cosby gave a speech at Harvard talking about niggas putting shit up on posters and laying them up, and people looking at them in houses going ooh and ah and all that other stuff. Anyway, there's a double-headed eagle. George Bush, Man of the Year on Time magazine, shows up in double heads. Golden Mendes is coming up. Military intelligence again. U.S. Army intelligence. Army intelligence is strong in these parts of Atlanta. Army intelligence was all over here for the Olympics. Army intelligence is still here now. That's the sleeve of Army intelligence. What is this? You got a skeleton key, a lightning bolt. What is the guardian animal? Always out front. Well, the insignia of military intelligence, the Sphinx at the Shield Center, has been associated with U.S. military intelligence since 1923. What's so interesting is that Sigma Pi Phi got it in 1904. This mythological creature has a lion's body, a woman's head, has exemplified the combination of wisdom and strength from the ancient times to the present. Always out front. Project Security Shield. When Brother Corey dug up the headquarters of military intelligence, what do they have sitting at the door when you go to the headquarters at Fort Hot, however you pronounce that? Yes, watch everybody that knows how to pronounce it correctly. Yeah. So what do you got at the headquarters? A guardian animal. The Sphinx, traditional heraldic symbol of military intelligence. Lion's body, woman's head, this mythological creature has exemplified the combination of strength and wisdom from ancient times to the present. Statue is on display at U.S. Army Intelligence Center at Fort what? Huachuca. All right. Huachuca. See, because it's ancient, that'd be Huachuca. So, no, I don't know. But the key thing is, notice around his neck is a chain, and the chain is a circle within a circle. That's very important because that's the format of the secret society that Cecil Rhodes formulated, circle within a circle. So what do we got? We got a guardian animal that's protecting what? What he's wearing. Right, like the Target logo. And in reverse, yes, it is the target, the circle within the circle, as Brother Griff showed. Now, this, here, we look closely at the logo of Sigma Pi Phi again, and we see a little better that there's something inside of the urn. This is from the cover of their membership roster. But we also know, body of a lion, wings of a bird, Sigma, the tail is in the form of an F, Pi, Phi. Sigma, Pi, Phi. And we notice there's something in between here. When we went to the Boule logo, with the Boule conviction, there was a place card showing that what was there were 9 empty squares. Just 9 empty squares. Then again, make a note of the fact that the urn is protected by the paw. Now, those 9 squares have something to do with something called the tetragrammation. The United Nations has a meditation room. And in the meditation room, they have this design. I don't have it on transparency. It's on the cover of the book, The Cult of the All-Seeing Eye. And that Mandela, that picture there, that's in the meditation room of the United Nations, inside of it has 9 interlocking triangles. And then 2 is related to the tetragrammation, or the unspoken name of God. That's why you see that Y, W, D, H, A, W, A, W, A, J. Or the word Yahweh. In fact, here, from years of getting stepped on, here, this is Kabbalah, or Kabbalah, everyone would want to do it. And Hellenic, we'll get to that later. But we notice that there's a circle within a circle inside of the urn, and we know now that there are 9 squares. The 9 squares are called the magic square. The magic square, says certain secret societies in the Middle Ages referred to it as the Kabbalah of the 9 chambers. So numbers go inside of the magic square. You can write those numbers down. Any way you turn those numbers, they add up to the number 15.
What's the next one, number 15?
15, pull up a tarot deck and see what the number 15 card is. It's the devil. Thank you, sir. Referred to as the 9-lobe figure was known as the square of Saturn, or Satan. Considered mysterious and magical because of the way the numbers could be arranged in it to add up to the same sum across every row, down every column, and through both diagonals. Number 15 was the number. The 9 referred to it as the Kabbalah, that's that word again, of the 9 chambers. We know 9 is related to the Grecian Sphinx. Here is another discussion of the 9 squares. Again, talking about Saturn and the demon spirit, Agil, and Zaziel, and the numbers 45, 45. And the table of Saturn, and those numbers and what they add up to and what they mean, and which way you turn those numbers. You notice these numbers are turned slightly different than those other 9 numbers I showed you. In the updated history book, 1995 history book of Sigma Pi Phi, the first of the Black Greek societies, they describe what the Grecian Sphinx and urn is doing. But why did we do this after Skull and Bones? Because in the first history book, written by Charles Wesley, it discussed that Minton, who started the Greek letter fraternity, in summary, Henry Minton wanted to create an organization which would partake in his own words, quote, the tenets of Skull and Bones at Yale. So we got a black group in 1904, wanted to be like a white group started in 1832, which is patterned off of another white group started in the University of Ingolstadt in Germany, which is the last known location of a society you all know as the Illuminati.
That's where they originated from.
Originated at the University of Ingolstadt, correct. So that even the Illuminati that you all know of by word but don't know much of in fact was from a college campus. You can see why they would want to keep speakers off of college campuses since they know what speakers did for them at their campus.
Like that Ron Brown up there?
Pardon me? Ron Brown is a member, yes. Was a member. Here is their explanation, which is probably the most incriminating of all of the documents related to the society. This page, number 29, describing what the founders meant when they set up the pin, which is similar to this. Notice they almost put 9 squares in there. Just didn't cross that last line. The founders of Sigma Pi Phi, the pin, is modeled after the Grecian Sphinx, the most famous in Greek mythology being the Sphinx at Thebes. So we know they didn't mean any African Sphinx. We know they didn't mean, in fact, we would even not even want to call it an African Sphinx. The most famous in Greek mythology being the Sphinx at Thebes. She had the head of a beautiful woman. She don't look so beautiful to me. She looked like a white ant. She definitely don't look like no sister with that haircut. Now you got black guys with a white woman in it. Well, it was good. You should have read them on that list you read earlier of people sleeping with white women. The urn in the pen is what? Guarded by the paw of the Sphinx, represents the container into which were placed the names of Greek citizens who would be chosen by lot to lead the state. So what's in the urn? The names of the people who run shit. What's in the urn? Jack? Now we better understand why we don't know. Because they were sworn never to tell. What do they guard? And what is the paw guarding? What's in urn? Death. All right, I really love it. Now, and I say that this is the most incriminating piece of documentation against them. This is a very short list of who was or is legally married. All right. Then we got to do a little update on this too. I got to do it on and do that off. Anyway, now, the ritual, so we know somewhere there is a ritual. Anyway, so you must know that. Now, let's go forward. The word cherubim. Cherubs and cherub. Singular. Cherub, cherubs with an F, and cherubim. 3 different distinctive things. Cherubim, keepers of the threshold. Sound more like guardian animals. Nothing less than gigantic tentacles placed there by priests as keepers of the threshold, a function which in China was fulfilled by griffins and dragons. The Egyptian cherub, no F and no boom, was a figure with many wings and covered with eyes. It was the emblem of the night sky. Now, go back and think about what we always say when one dreams real high. upside down? What's a pie upside down? A pie. 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 Now, I didn't see it because I was on my way here, but I hear on Monday Night Football, they got the new Emmitt Smith commercial. He was the first one to come out with the "This is my planet." Now, what was Reebok's last logo? The British flag, which represented the imperial coming forth of the British and the secret society of Rhodes that went out and colonized all lands of people of color. Now the round table or the pie people believe they have won the battle to bring forth a new world order. So now it is called "This is my planet." And in the one I did see, where Shaq is sitting on the couch and the little black man, little caricature, gets up on the edge of the couch and says to Shaq, "Is there room for a brother on your planet?" And what happened? Knocked him off the couch. Right? He asked, how is the pie represented? Now, I don't know how well because this other bar, see that other bar is too light. That red bar was too light when I shot it for it to show. But remember, let's go back. We're talking about, what's the group we're talking about? No. Sigma. Now we may get an idea that what they guard is something related to the New World Order and that it's incorporated into what they are. Pi is this symbol. 2 bars with a flag. The movie The Net, Mozart's Ghost, the program that was eating up the safety and security of computers was pi. Now we can go deeper. Pi has a numerical equation, science, mathematical analysis, and phi has a mathematical analysis. We'll say that for Coakley 202.
Go ahead now.
Huh? You're right. In the movie, it was about Gatekeeper. Remember, that was the program, Gatekeeper. And in fact, in reality, Satan, the program that was supposed to keep the virus out of your computer was called Satan. And when you hit it up, it's ./com Gatekeeper. That's right. Well, and that's all we're talking about. Gatekeepers or guardian animals. Never before in the history of our race have we esoterically came so close to that which we claim we've always been after. Remember now, if you step up to this beat and don't be decoding that riddle straight enough, it will do what to you? Eat your ass up. So you gotta be careful as you approach the beast that you got so many to the right, so many to the left, and that you unlock it precisely. Let's go back. The definition of the word round table. The definition of the word round table. Let me just explain this to you so that I can do this quickly and quickly. I need to show you the definition that Sherlock gave for the round table. You know, round table, like sitting around, it's a circle within a circle. Even in the movie First Night, you look at the round table and go up over, the camera gets to the top and looks down. You see the swords laying around the circle with the flame in the center, or a circle within a circle. And that Sherlock gave a definition of the word round table, which I ain't found yet, which is right in this section right here, which I want to put up, and all he says is, back and roll that, that's for 5, that's our Kabbalah on 5, says this, no, that's the point, here we go, word round table. Look up the word round table in the dictionary of symbols. The round table is equated, yeah, the lights is out on the enemy now, they can stay out. The round table is equated by its shape with the tiny disc of jade pie, which represents the sky. Now go back. We just talked about the pie in the sky. Pie. Sky. This is our planet. Some about the 12 nights in the round table and the shape, which is oval, like the when you go into the This Is My Planet, when you watch the way they run it, the stand is an oval sort of stand. Now, sure you're right. So now, what does the word round table mean to us? What is the key to the word round table? Now we have to turn to what Brother Marcus called, as we know, a good white story. In every city, I've shown Brother Marcus' transparency. You saw Brother Corey's work up here, the stuff on the boule. What Brother Copley does isn't so much about Brother Copley, but Brother Copley as a brother has sheets of paper from every city in this country who have participated. Those 9 squares came from LA. They decodified it. Brother Corey got the boule book out of Florida. Brother Marcus comes up with the good white source piece. In other words, what this program is representative of all those who have pitched in to make it this clear. This is as much me coordinating what we've come to learn as me thinking of it. I provided the track and they laid it. Good white source, Carol Quigley, Princeton, Harvard, Georgetown, wrote 2 very important books, Tragedy and Hope, The Anglo-American Establishment, and very clearly, Quigley said, as he was being reviewed in the back of a book called The Invisible Government, it was clearly known that in Quigley's book, what you learn is that Quigley became versed in the round table group. We may identify them as the round table group. There does exist and has existed for a generation an international Anglophile network which operates to some extent in the way the radical right believes the communists act. In fact, this network, which we may identify as the round table group, has no aversion to cooperating with communists or any other group, and frequently does so. I know the operations of this network. I have studied it for 20 years and was permitted for 2 years in the early 60s to examine its papers and secret records. By him coming from Harvard, Princeton, and being Clinton's professor at Georgetown, he's an impeccable source. He cannot be repudiated unless you pull down the pillars of education. So a truth develops at Morehouse, which was derived out of Harvard, which can't be repudiated without destroying the foundation of what they are. Check? That's what a good white source does. It locks in like a target on a plane. It locks in your enemy, and no matter which way they turn, they can't get away from themselves. Now, Quigley, in his Anglo-American establishment, said that this group of people that ran the world were behind the Rhodes Scholars. Who's a Rhodes Scholar? So again, we saw Skull and Bones produce one president, now another society produced another president. So I got to give it to Chris Rock. Chris Rock said, if a black man ever became vice president, I'd kill the president. And that's a profound That's a profound move by our brother to say in the public, who looks just like a comedian, to stand up and say, if a brother ever became vice president, I'd kill the president. Because what would that mean? So if you ever see it happen, you say, oh shit, I'm getting ready. But it won't come under the American Constitution. The Rhodes Scholarship, established by the firm of Cecil Rhodes, Sellers Will. Look up Cecil Rhodes in the encyclopedia, especially Britannica. Big layout on Rhodes, his wills, who he left it to, and how Rhodes and Rothschild got together to form the secret society that's running it now. Rhodes and who? Rothschild. All right. And in his 5 previous wills, he left his fortune to form a secret society, which was to send people to college. Do you know where the headquarters of the Rhodes Scholarship is in America? Anybody here from LA? You ever heard of Pomona, California? Claremont College? Modeled after Oxford.
Nixon.
Claremont College holds the office of the Rhodes Scholarship headquarters in the United States. And we've gone up there. Boy, we find some stuff up there. For the preservation and expansion of the British Empire. And what does not seem to be known to anyone is that this secret society was created by Rhodes and its principal trustee, Lord Milner, who was a trustee for Rothschild, continues to exist to this day. To be sure, the secret society is not a silent thing like the Ku Klux Klan. It does not have any secret roles, secret hand clasps, or secret passwords. It does not eat in disease, since its members know each other intimately. Now, what we've come to is the knowledge of the difference in secret society. We talked about the Masons being the lawgiver, the commoners. So now we find that there are owners who have society, and there are operators who have society. Okay? So Clinton, Bush are operators, Rockefeller is an owner. So in Rockefeller society, ain't no secret handshakes and all of that. You run a continent, you're at the meeting. But in an operator society, you need a ritual or a process by which you seal loyalty. See, wealth compels the owners to stick together. Profit, wealth, domination. But operators have to be welded or ritualized into the society or the order. You with me on that? The difference between the owners and the operators of society. Yes, Brother Quigley. Bill Gates, interestingly enough, Bill Gates is what we call coming out of the new establishment. There's a Vanity Fair right now, October issue, Vanity Fair, the new establishment. Write this shit down now. Y'all look at me. Write this shit down. It previews the top 50 people who are fighting against the New World Order, but are still white and are anti-black. The David Jeffers, the Spielbergs, the Katzenbach, the Eisner at Disney, the Gerald Levin at Time Warner. Those are the new establishments. And every year, no, they're not all Jewish. Don't get caught up in a religion. And in fact, when someone does an act religious like, we don't pin religious names on them. The new establishment, the new 50 of the 1996 is in the Vanity Fair right now. Talk about 350. Study those 50 names. Some of them are in on this, but they're in on it from a different angle. They believe that technology, entertainment, will be the new world order. And so the new establishment is trying to get rid of the old East Coast establishment by being the entertainment, communications, and computer coming forth. So here comes Bill Gates off the West Coast, coming in with his new establishment crew, but then gets in trouble with the Justice Department. Rockefeller owns the Justice Department. So then he tells Bill Gates, well, look, I'll tell you what, I want me some cable shit. So you go put your MS on my NBC, and we'll start some cable shit, and I'll lift up that antitrust suit. And you know what happened? MSNBC is on, and the antitrust suit is off. And that's how the real world works. Yeah. So Bill Gates is the largest white donator to the United Negro College Fund, started by Rockefeller, because now he's got to pay Rockefeller toll. See, Rockefeller looks up, tells the Japanese, y'all ain't selling all that shit. I'm running the world. I got the world dominated. If you want to sell that shit, you will pay me a toll. So they bought Rockefeller Center on loan. They gave it back now. They let Rockefeller get 35% of all of their shit. And now they're in the trilateral, and they're bringing the Asian cluster in with the European cluster, with the North American cluster, and those three clusters are the coming together of the New World Order. New World Order is about three sections of the world coming together. Yes, Professor.
When you mentioned the new establishment, the protocols came to mind because they said that they would infiltrate by any means necessary. And this is just a contemporary part of it. But that is exactly what has happened when you mentioned Spielberg and that whole thing. The continuation of that part of the relationship between Rhodes and Rothschild.
Right. And I know that when you told me you haven't been in that movie, The Color Purple, and you were working around Spielberg, and you know that Quincy Jones had to go out and ease the tension that Spielberg had developed in the making of the movie. Right. And his brother's a profound elder. It's been under the gun here, teaching here in the mountain. You know, last time we were here a year ago, right in this auditorium, we had dissension. We had 5%ers, we had Masons, we had Brother Coakley, and we were all talking, and things were going in all sorts of ways, and different brothers got up and settled us all into one unit. It was a very interesting evening. Very profound moment. Anyway, let me go back. New establishment, that's where Gates comes in. You got it? MSNBC. Professor Pat. Now, look up. Here we go, real quick. Remember, Henry Menton, that's the man who founded Sigma Pi Phi. Remember page 28 of History Book, Part 1, the tenets of Skull and Bones at Yale, and Phi Beta Kappa, which was the first white college fraternity was Phi Beta Kappa. It was a Masonic fraternity. The first white college fraternity was Phi Beta Kappa. The first black college fraternity was Sigma Pi Phi. Now, the history of Skull and Bones and the history of black Greek societies are well described right here. This is page 18 of the history book of Alpha Phi Alpha, written by Charles Wesley. 1 and 8 is 9, page 18. And Wesley also wrote the history book, Part 1, for Sigma Pi Phi. And what does Wesley do? What Wesley does that's so significant is he tells us where this black college fraternity gets their history from. He says the organization of Greek letter fraternities among Negro college men has been one of inevitable results of the development of college life in America. College fraternities have been the special development of the college and university life of the United States and Canada. Who are we related to? Relationships may be noted with fraternal organizations and convocations of the Middle Ages, and with corpse like a dead or skull and bones of German universities in the modern period. So they're tracing, Wesley is saying, where did the image and reflection of college black Greek society come from? It came from fraternal organizations, convocations of the Middle Ages, and the corpse of German universities. Well, where did the knight come from? The Middle Ages, the knight. The skull and bones, they want to be like skull and bones, you go over, you're a knight. Where did the University of, where did Skull and Bones get their charter from? Who wants to be like Skull and Bones? Sigma Phi Phi. So what does Wesley do? He basically confirms for us that the round table of the Middle Ages and the German society as something exposed in the secret order of the Skull and Bones, the German origins of Skull and Bones. The Illuminati has its origins at the University of Ingolstadt, which is in what country? Germany. Now, this is what speaks to me, is that people come to me and tell me, brother, about this Illuminati. And I say, you don't know what that is. Because most people who serve in and around it, who be looking for where it is, most times don't know they standing in it. You know, what's in the urn? Now, imagine you were standing in this shit. You couldn't smell it.
All right.
So you was looking for it, and you were at it. You were at the things it created. To make sure what? Nobody really knew what it was. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm all fucked up. Maybe I'm just paranoid and imagining shit. When I walk my ass out of here tonight, forget you ever saw me. Repudiate what I said and go on back to doing what you're doing. Let's say check. All right. The order has its origin at Yale in 1833, but Skull and Bones is a chapter of a German secret society. It was introduced into the United States by William Russell, later General William Russell, who brought the charter back from his student days in Germany. Then the German origins have been denied, but the charter in the temple of Skull and Bones shows that it's German. Secrecy in both orders. Obviously, secrecy is only needed if there is something to conceal. Right. Secrecy is needed only if there is something to conceal. Right, the Constitution and the Convocation and the Congress.
And the call put in.
Now, imagine these societies being circles within circles, and our goal is to penetrate the center of the circle. Remember that center circle within a circle we saw in the urn. Now, let's go to Charles Wesley. That's a picture of Charles Wesley. Now, who's that back there, brother? Who? Booker T. And Charles Wesley wrote the history of Sigma Phi right at the cover of the birth history book. There's the urn and the Grecian Sphinx and the first of the Negro-American Greek letter fraternities by Charles Wesley. And let me tell you something. I want to tell you what the most profound development that we've ever witnessed in this thing is going on right now. Brother Devin is a Greek. He's an Omega. He helps instigate bringing Brother Copley to Clark Atlanta Youth. Back the first time, though we used this auditorium before. I just left Kentucky State. Sigmas brought me to Kentucky State. Even though they know that deep inside of the dialogue is something that affects them, we have gotten so strong and so straight with what we're offering that we have beat the bond or the vine that separated men. And now we are being carried, bore by those who have been ritualized. That is a major revolutionary development that will greatly be underestimated. I went to Cornell with the Omegas. I went to University of West Virginia with the Sigmas. I went to Chicago State with the Alphas. I can walk you around and show that they have come forth at different moments. Most are not. This is not a put down anybody. Nobody knows all of this when they go in. It's all right to want to associate and bond and bind with brothers and sisters. But now that you do know, you become compelled to pass it as the truth or stake your claim against it and fight it till you die. But you will never be the same the day after you know. Because deep inside of your heart, knowing will not let you act as if you don't know, only the one who knows you less. So just remember where we are. So now Wesley, in the eulogy to Wesley, Wesley is given an ode to death, the life and times of Wesley. They put Wesley's, and this is again, this level of documentation has never come out of our community ever. Boy, I was trying to get all that wool. I've been walking around here hours to do 3 things and shit. Got that all that going on, but it is rolling and shit. That's good enough. Because to do this, I would shout till I couldn't speak. Because if we don't do this, we will die and speaking will become irrelevant. What is a black man with a master's degree from Morehouse in a concentration camp work? So if you don't beat that which will put you in the camp, what you're doing is just a difference. You may grow up to be something nowhere.
Why do that?
The word we're looking for, compatibility, and I'm almost finished, you all, I'm almost finished. Compatibility in the word round table. Alfred Lord Tennyson, known for writing poetry about King Arthur and all that stuff. Anybody here from Pittsburgh? The Masonic Temple in Pittsburgh was on 5th and Tennyson. Right there at the University of Pittsburgh. All that big cathedral and all that other stuff there. You really from Pittsburgh? Yes. And Pittsburgh is called the Point. Well, and that's important too, because the point is the circle within the circle of the point. The veil of ignorance, and everyone in Harlem was scared of the wizard, but none of them knew him not. They were feared of what they had never seen. And that made it greater than it ever was. I guarantee you, if the day came, you had to walk up out of here, we could do it. Then you can even come back under new management. But if you ever decided you had enough, we could do it. You must decide. It won't take long, but we could do it. And it was divine that we would do it. It is that's why they suppress us the hardest, because they know amongst us it will be done.
All right.
Now, when the Million Man March, when Minister Farrakhan leads the Million Man March, how many people did the white people say were in attendance? That's one for each diamond, each point on the diamond. That's 1,000, 100,000, 10,000 for each point on the diamond. So when they answered it back with the sum of the number 4, they didn't try to describe how many people were there. They knew that wasn't right. They even corrected themselves. But they were talking in code. They talked back. He approached the diamond. He approached the diamond, and the diamond answered back. It answered back just like this. Much of the speech was loaded with numerology and discussion towards masonry, talking about the number 19 and the 555-foot tall Washington Monument and the Jefferson and Lincoln Memorials. The speech was loaded with esoteric knowledge. The first president of the Klan, George Washington, was the Grand Master Mason. He laid it out there. Most of the people didn't even remember hearing it. But he was addressing the secret society on which he had stepped to. He addressed them in their code, and they answered him back in code. Most of the people didn't even get it. Now, yes.
Another thing on that number 400,000.
Yes.
You take 400,000 from a million, that leaves you 600,000. Fractionally speaking, that's 3/5.
Talking about the Diamond State of D.C. And Washington was responsible for determining the new city would be diamond shaped. How the meridian for the world was 16th Street in D.C. until they changed it in 1884 and made it Great Britain. Around the time that Rhodes had formed his society, he took control of the midpoint of the world. 4 points. You get the point? The word devil, look up the definition of the word devil, the 15th mystery of the terrorist act. 15. Like the Greek Sphinx. Definition of the devil says that it's something relevant between the devil and the Greek Sphinx. Whose logo is the Greek Sphinx? Sigma Pi Phi Relay. Y'all wasn't too good on that one. And anyway, did this lecture with a brother in D.C. talking about the relationship between Satan's door to America, Washington, D.C., and Freemasonry. And this story that came out in the Washington Post, you should look it up. November 5th, 95, trying to get into some of the language that Minister Farrakhan in his Washington Post editorial sections on a Sunday, November 5th, after the Million Man March of 95, trying to, from Satan to the Sphinx, the Masonic mysteries of the D.C. map. It ain't time for Yoda yet. Everybody knows it's not time for Yoda. Try to impress some girl sitting next to you. But, far better that you impress her on that way. No better way for a brother to come to a sister than with knowledge that I live right on the top of that diamond. I live at 1703 East West Highway. The top of that diamond on the point of D.C. address. And this is the point. This is the marker, those 40 stones. Benjamin Banneker laid those stones. 1791. One is right outside of my house. I live 1703 East West Highway. This marker is 1800 East West Highway. Now, thank you. We're on the point. I knew something weird about going to D.C. and this. When they went out and checked them, they found out that Banneker had laid those stones on the mark. Resurvey reveals the amazing accurate work, the 40 markers that laid D.C. And so those 40 markers laid by Banneker were checked by satellites, found out that the instrument Banneker used in his hand was as great as what they got with their satellites 150 years later. Which means that a black man with his hand is better than a hunky with a ship. But let's not wait another 200 years for you to figure it out. D.C. the diamond, 10 by 10, the point. Somewhere in the center of D.C., we believe there's something that we're after. We don't know where it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's underground, above the ground. But somewhere in the center of the diamond that makes D.C. is the beast we've been looking for. I waited my life to cut the throat of the beast. Yes.
Does Mitsubishi meaning 3 diamonds have any connection?
Yes, because those 3 diamonds, as you look at it, and Mitsubishi means 3 diamonds means, like we were saying earlier, that those car logos were not accidental. What? Shaitan. Anybody got a Quran know the word Shaitan means the devil. But the shit might be more like Wash Shaitan. In fact, I still ain't met a white man named Washington since George. I always talk about that. There ain't no more white Washington. And there, of course, is the Gold of Mendes. Y'all right? The Gold of Mendes. The Gold of Mendes is what you see when you look at Anton LaVey in the Satanic Bible. You see the Gold of Mendes as the logo, a circle within a circle with the devil. And there you even see the Gold of Mendes behind his head with some lettering. Well, that's Hebrew. There's some other things in there, but we take it on all kinds of levels.
Yeah, the Bob is a big one now with Nike.
And you can see that you can see that the Anton LaVey, who has a lightning bolt inside of his Gold of Mendes. Remember when we saw that logo of the Army always out front? It had a lightning bolt and a what? Skeleton key. Not just a key, but a skeleton and bone key. say one of his students was Sammy Davis Jr. And his daughter got a book out. A book out now talking about his Satanism and stuff. And of course, one of the men inside of Anton LaVey's network went out and killed Sharon Tate and all that Charles Manson stuff. They were out doing some ritual killing. And Sharon Tate was the wife of a man named Roland Delancey, who wasn't home because he had fled the country because in a satanic ritual he raped a 14-year-old girl. And that 14-year-old girl that he raped married Quincy Jones. Natasha Kinski, whose daddy, Kinski, was a follower of Anton LaVey. And I want you to go to Blockbusters or some video store and pull out Natasha Kinski's first movie, Cat People. Dun, 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 dun. And in it, she played a guardian animal. Yes? Yes. Probably all this is just bullshit, you know? I'll go back to school tomorrow and study that shit, get that lettering. Here is from the article on Freemasonry, say the door to America. They tried to say the Golden Mendes was here around the U.S. Capitol. Of course, that looks more like the Masonic Compass and Square, like Griff was showing on the X-Time. And of course, the Golden Mendes is actually, they tried to say it's over here, but actually there's star over here, the House of the Mother Supreme I showed you yesterday, the White House down the street from it. Actually, that is more like the Golden Mendes, that symbol right there. But they used the whole story to hide it after we exposed it. Took the whole story to hide it. And of course, part of what we were always talking about the Golden Mendes or the god of lust, the satanic ghost, is that when you turn it upside down, you see Steven Spielberg's character of the trilogy of New World Order called Star Wars. The mythical character that taught the Jedi how to deal with the dark side.
Okay, look in the square. Look in the triangle. Are you trying? What was the big ears? Turn around again.
Tom and Jerry, they used to draw something like this. Now I gotta go out and look at it. They used to wrap up their plans, they used to draw that. And then remember in the flick The Gargoyles, which was put on by Fox, Rupert Murdoch is the fox, the devilish animal, they had them out chasing the Illuminati. And what? And Brooklyn and all that looking for it and stuff. That's deep. That's deep.